Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. I'm so glad you could join us. I'm your host, Michael Vega. So glad to be joined on the day as today by my main man, Al Prizzuti. And we start off with some heavy hearts here, as most in New England are experiencing with the loss of friends and one colleague in particular, and some people we admired. First and foremost, I'm thinking about former colleague Chris Snow, who passed away Saturday at age of 42. Chris was a Melrose native and a Malden Catholic graduate, and he was just a bright light and spirit. And I was there when he met his wife, his future wife, his wife, Kelsey, who had been an intern at the Globe at the time, and I saw the sparks, the chemistry, and I remember telling him, yep, this girl is definitely into you, so I would pursue that. And he did, and they married, and they had 2 children, just beautiful, beautiful children. And at any rate, Chris sadly passed away from ALS, a disease that has ravaged his family, his dad, 2 uncles, and he leaves behind his wife Kelsey and his 2 children, and so it's terribly heartbreaking. And this is an insidious disease, and it's claimed many friends and people that we know, and we just hope that at some point there will be a cure for this, and that one day there will be a breakthrough, and spare people the agony of this type of disease. But and then we learned of the passing of Tim Wakefield, a guy that I knew and admired. I was present for the 200th win he got in his career, and I remember how diligent he was in that pursuit, but it was never top of mind for him. And it always astonished me how he was always present and focused on the task at hand. And there was much to be admired about Tim, not only for what he did on the field, but off the field as a ambassador for the Red Sox and a champion of the Jimmy Fund and all that he did. And sadly, he passed away from brain cancer, and on Sunday that we learned about that. And as if that wasn't hard enough, then came the news on Monday of the passing of Russ Francis, a beloved tight end here with the New England Patriots. Died tragically in a plane crash north of, where was that, Al?
Maine.
It
was in Maine.
I thought it was in New York.
No, I thought it was in Maine. Well,
Okay.
It might have been. Right.
Yeah, Lake Placid, not Lake Placid, was it?
No. I don't
At
think so.
any rate, I apologize for that, but it's just almost too much to digest and to kind of wrap your arms around. And so, at any rate, we all here feel what you're feeling as well, and we're looking for some kind of light, something to put our arms around. And maybe the Celtics gave that to us when they made a huge move in going after Drew Holiday and acquiring him from the Portland Trail Blazers, who had acquired him from the Bucks after they acquired Damian Lillard. So that was something that kind of energized the masses. And then, of course, we have the Bruins getting ready, getting ramped up. They had an unbelievable preseason game last night, lost in overtime. But there was a lot to be, I think, encouraged about, Al, about that. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, I don't know. I think the defense has been, and again, it's preseason, so you don't know who's going to be paired up against who in the regular season, but
Yeah.
they're a little loose. I thought Ullman was a little loose in the first period. He let 3 goals in 12 shots.
yeah.
I think the light was on a number of players. Laurie. is probably ready. Now, whether he's going to be the guy that would be, up there is going to be another thing. I mean, you got some other guys that are veterans that have been around. So my guess is he'll be the 7th defenseman.
Yeah.
Beecher shows me for a kid his size, tremendous speed. And
Yes.
he did a couple of things last night where he went around guys and like they were standing still. Potra scored another goal. He looks like he's going to be on the squad. Whether it's going to be somebody that they put on a third line when somebody goes on in the penalty box, or on the fourth line, maybe even second line. But he's got some ability.
Lizell.
You know what? Fabian Lizell has been a little disappointing to me. I mean, he doesn't show me anything here, and again, he hasn't had a lot of minutes. I mean,
Probably
if you
needs
look at the
some
minutes
physical
Laurie's getting,
maturity there.
well, I think but they're going to look at that very carefully because he's, the biggest question for him was size when he first came up, and whether he was going to be able to play against the big guys. I thought Lucic played a good game last night.
Yeah.
And you know what? I thought Heinen played a decent game. He was coached by Montgomery, incidentally, at Denver. Yeah. So there's a connection there, which I think is going to allow him to stay. But, they're 1-3 in this preseason. They got another game against the Rangers before they open the season against the Blackhawks. So the question's going to be, what team are you going to really see? I mean, it's hard on preseason. I'm not a big preseason fan to make any predictions.
Right.
But what I will say is discipline has to begin in preseason, and I don't see them as being completely disciplined on defense. And I'm not sure, because you don't see the lines, the stable lines, how they're going to do there. They're not scoring a lot of goals, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the goaltending has been suspect, except for Boosie in the first game, which played a terrific game. So, anyways, with the Celtics, I think looking at the move, it's hard to say that they're not going to be better with this kid Holiday, because he's a two-time All-Star, incidentally, but 9 years apart.
Yes,
which is quite a distance. But what he is 33 years old, and he's a good two-way player. I mean, he can play offense, he can play defense, which is something that they need without Marcus Smart.
And it's a great point that you bring up, Al, because I think that Holiday replaces some of that defensive snarl that Marcus Smart brought to the team. And even Jaylen Brown described him as a quote-unquote assassin, and I've always viewed him through that same prism when, he's been opposing the Celtics, when he was with the Bucks. And, always saw that he was the guy that just did damage to a team. And now you pair him with a Kristaps Porzingis. You pair him with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. You got four bona fide scorers there. Don't matter who you put out there in the fifth. It's going to be Al Horford.
Four All-Stars.
And Al Horford out there.
White, I think, is probably Horford's not going to be 38 years old or whatever he is.
But, I think he's going to be a starter. He'll be a starter. He'll be a rim protector. It'll allow Porzingis to kind of drift
White's
out
going
a
to
little
be
bit.
the guy too. I mean, that's going to be part of that whole thing. Horford, I think, could.
Yeah, I mean, you can go. I mean, your point guard right now is Drew Holiday, right?
Yeah.
You look at Holiday, so he's going to be the guy that's going to be controlling the ball. He's going to be, the offense will go through him, but it's going to flow through everybody, I think. And teams were not going to be able just to focus on one or the other in terms.
But this is going to be a great opportunity to see whether Missoula can handle this, because you got three guys that want the ball.
Now you got four.
Well, I'm not so sure the big guy can shoot from outside. I mean, that's a separate thing. If anybody's not on him, he's going to shoot. I'm talking about controlling the ball. So you got Holiday, you got Tatum, and you got Brown. All three of them want the ball.
Yeah.
So this is what a coach would say. Okay, we've got to play the system that we want. If somebody's open, you take the shot.
Yeah.
You don't force it. Yeah. And that can be a problem for somebody like Jason Tatum, who can then take 15 shots in a row.
I know. And you look at the rotation at point guard that you have now. Drew Holiday, you have Peyton Pritchard, and of course Derek White. All of them proven, I think. And then of course you look at the front court. They gave up, I think, a tremendous athletic talent in Robert Williams, but He was prone to injury.
So is Porzingis, whatever.
Porzingis has been prone to injury, yep. But Porzingis, I mean,
7'4".
I think has more offensive upside.
Oh, yeah.
Way more offensive upside.
I don't think he's got the defensive ability that Williams is shot block.
But I think that, and Porzingis is too. At he's 7'3", so he's a guy that's going to be protecting the rim and altering shots.
Because of his size, he's a shot blocker. Williams is because of his athleticism.
And I think what it allows is for Porzingis to play in. You can play 4 out, with Al Horford at the corner spotting up for the threes that he likes to take. And he becomes the de facto Grant Williams, I think, but who I'm going to miss as well. And
Brogdon was a great player.
I think Brogdon was tremendous.
He's a terrific player.
Sixth player of the year.
Yeah, so they gave up something to get something, which is what a trade's supposed to do. I think what they're trying to do here is they're trying to win because Holiday's 33 and he's a free agent next year, whether they sign him or whatever. They put out, we were looking at this, they put out in the 30s, 30 each for Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, and Holiday.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
36 money. In millions you're talking.
Yeah, millions.
Yeah, millions, yes.
So
those are big max contracts that they're having to handle. I think but you know what?
They want to win.
I applaud Brad Stevens for taking the big swing here.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't, then you cede the Eastern Conference to the Milwaukee Bucks, who got better, right?
I think what he's done here, and if you take all of the personal preferences aside that fans have, he's made them all better by giving up Smart, Williams, Brogdon, and Williams.
And two teams in the East that did not get better, Philadelphia. And Miami. Yeah.
So
I think that the championship's going to go through the Boston or Milwaukee right now. The way on paper, and I know we all know what how you can make a mistaken assumption by that. But the thing is that, and again, kudos to Brad Stevens for making the deal when they realized, hey, we have to fortify ourselves here. Yeah. And the thing is that he outbid the Nuggets, I think, or the Jazz, Danny Ainge, the wheeler dealer himself, and the Clippers. I think they were in on this guy. But for him to land with the Celtics, and you know what I think it is, Al? It's the fact that this guy saw, hey, they have a core group: Porzingis, Brown, Tatum. I want to be with them.
Well, I again, all I say is it's going to be, the onus is going to be on Mazzulla. If he's not the coach that they think he is,
right,
then, because coaching's the name of the game. Look at what Red Auerbach did with the Celtics. It was Red Auerbach that did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of the good players, but he made them all better. And Mazzulla's going to have to figure out a way that he can blend 4 stars to play as a team. Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, sports is an interesting concept because, like you say, on paper, you'd say this is the best. And then in reality, I'll give you an example. In tennis, you got Djokovic, who everybody calls the GOAT.
Right.
And then this kid Alcaraz. Alcaraz can't beat Sinner.
Yeah.
And he said it in the report yesterday. He said Sinner's very, very difficult for me to beat. He says, I can't figure him out. Well, if he can't figure him out, he's going to be in trouble.
You're going to be losing to him more than once.
So everybody else will adopt whatever Sinner's been doing against him. So I'm not sure he should be as vocal as he was about why he can't beat Sinner. But Sinner's a good player. I mean, he hits the ball harder than he looks. He's not that big a guy.
Yeah.
But neither is Djokovic.
We can discuss some football, Al. And one of the things that has all of Milton abuzz this week is the Milton High football team, 4-0 after absolute demolition of Weymouth, 31-7 here at Brooks Field on Friday, a rainy, windswept evening. Milton getting it done in a battle of Bay State unbeatens. And now I think it's for all the marbles here in the division. With Needham coming to town. They are 4-0 as well. It'll be the number 8 Wildcats hosting the number 17 Needham Rockets. And the Wildcats are just on an upward trajectory here. And they've been averaging, I think, I want to say at least 41 points a game now.
Well, they've had 342. They had three of them in the 40s, and then there's 31.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've got an offense, but you got to remember one thing. They shut one team out 40-something.
49-0 against Framingham.
And they've only given up 14, 14, and 7.
The defense has been tremendous.
So you've got a great offense going with a great defense.
They've been playing some great complementary football.
That's what you want.
They really have. And you look at Needham. Needham, meanwhile, has been they're 4-0, but they won 14-6 over Natick. They were in a tight one against Lincoln Sudbury. They rallied in that game, 14-13. They handled Newton North 27-7 at Newton North. Then they played Walpole, squeaked by against Walpole 21-19.
So if you look at it, their offense is not a firebrand offense like Milton's.
Correct.
Their defense appears to be pretty good, pretty strong.
Right.
So
they have a very good.
It'll be a defensive battle.
It will, because they're predicating much of their success really on their run game, but with Tate Hoffmeister, and then they have a trio of great linebackers that kind of are the core of their defense. But I think they're going to have to be able to cover people, with this Milton High team. Mm-hmm. And Milton can spread you out, and that's where they got you.
Yeah.
And if they get you in a track meet, they get ahead. And I'm not so sure that Needham can get into a track meet with these guys. They need to possess the ball, is what their kind of modus operandi is.
I think the kudos there got to go to the coach, Dombrowski.
Steve Dombrowski,
he had a team that went to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
A lot of kids move on, graduated.
Yep.
And this team that came in is playing as good, at least initially, as good as the team that just left.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of great talent left last year. You know, you're talking about Owen McHugh, Jack Finnegan. The core of receivers. They had Shane Olson, Luke Salmon.
Well, I think to solidify the win for Needham would be if they take the Patriots quarterback Jones and Milton. We can
talk about that, Al.
Yeah, let's.
And we want to invite everyone to get out to Brooks Field, come rain or shine. Wildcats are going to need you this week there with this big game, Bay State battle of unbeatens. They're both 4-0, both ranked in the Globe top 20. So make sure you get out there and be loud and be proud. And and so now we turn our attention and our concern to the Patriots. Al, they took a beat down in Texas.
It was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing now. But what was more concerning is the quarterback play that they got.
No.
And you know what? Let me put this hypothetical to you, Al. All right? You're sitting there in front of your draft board, and you've got Zach Wilson and Mac Jones as the only viable guys on your board left. And you've got the pick. And you're the Jets. Do you still make that pick? Mm-hmm. I would. I would too. And judging on what I saw right now, these are two guys that are in opposite trajectories right now. Mac Jones and Zach Wilson. I saw a lot out of Zach Wilson in that game.
Well,
and they lost.
Two things that separate the two. Wilson can throw long.
Yeah.
I mean, he proved that.
He can make all the throws.
He can make all the throws, but the throw he made at the end and the Hail Mary pass was 70 yards into the end zone.
Against the Patriots, yeah.
Jones couldn't do that.
No.
Jones can't throw long. When he throws over 20 yards, he throws it high. Then he does this cross field. He had one. Well, because he made one reception.
Yeah.
And then he thought he could do that again, and they were onto it. And you know what? He's holding the ball like this. Look, I know he's a passer and everything, but he's holding the ball like this. The kid comes down, hits his arm, he fumbles it, touchdown. His best throw of the game was to a Cowboy who dropped the ball 4 yards away. So, you know what? And Zappi's not the answer because don't forget, they let this kid go out and nobody picked him up on waivers. So nobody wants him. they're going to have to make a trade for a quarterback if they expect to do anything.
And
this
you know
year.
what? And the Jets did that already. They went and got Trevor Siemian.
well.
So they have a bit of a backup plan.
Problem is, nobody wants any of the Patriots. I mean, you've lost Udon, who's their best, in my opinion. They've lost their two best defensive players, Gonzalez and Udon.
What did I text you the minute that happened?
Yeah, I know.
I said, he's done. He's done. I said, that looks like a UCL, ulnar collateral
And I also knew when Gonzalez went down, because the way he went down on his shoulder, his body was right on top of his shoulder.
Separated.
That he had a problem there.
Yeah.
And that's not that big of a deal for a cornerback.
But those are nagging.
Oh, they're very not. But I mean, it's not as big a deal for a cornerback as it would be for a receiver or
Well,
running back.
the thing is still though, you can't shy away from contact when you're a cornerback.
They have nothing. Scott Zolak looked like he was going to cry at the end of the game when they did that. They do that fifth quarter or whatever they call it on, because this is look at when they lined up to kick the extra point and went in for a 2-point. That was just pouring salt on the wound.
Oh, for sure.
What Dallas did at that point was to say, you know what, you guys spent 16 years making us look like idiots. Now we're going to make you look
Tables
like
turned.
idiots. And it happened. I mean, it was an embarrassment.
All you had to do was look at the expression on Bill Belichick's face. Al. I mean, that told you everything you need to know about the abject humiliation, and then I think the concern he's facing too. And here's the other thing you got to be worried about. Defections from your staff now, because there's rumors out there that Bill O'Brien may be going to Michigan State.
Well,
Will
O'Brien.
they come after him?
O'Brien did something that Belichick didn't do. He went on and said, "Look, it wasn't Jones's. Jones made some bad decisions," he said, "but that's not the kid that you're going to see. That was an anomaly." Belichick shouldn't even do a post-game press conference because he never says
anything. Right.
He never says anything that makes any sense at all or that matters at all. At least O'Brien came out and said, he's our guy. He's going to be the guy. And that wasn't what the guy you saw against Dallas is not the guy that we see in practice and in other games. So, you know what though? They're not going to make any moves to make to the playoffs. In my opinion, they're a bad football team that lost two of their best players.
Well, they did make a move, Al, to shore up their defense.
Yeah.
Recently acquiring J.C. Jackson, bringing him back from the Chargers for a couple late-round picks that they swapped with the Chargers. So J.C. Jackson will be coming back to help out with, I guess, a really wounded secondary right now. And that's I think that was the worst case scenario, because I think the Patriots are going to have to rely a lot on their defense to help, shore up and keep them in games, which they did against, the Chiefs.
They could go out and get a quarterback and give up draft picks because their draft picks have historically stunk.
Yeah.
So whether they give up a first or second round, they could get Garoppolo for draft picks. And, at least he knows the system. He's a better quarterback than what they've got. Other than that, they're not going to win. They'll maybe beat New Orleans, but they could lose to New Orleans too. This is not a good team.
No, they're going to lose to New Orleans.
I don't know. New Orleans is a bad football team as well.
Well, Derek Carr is their quarterback, and he's much better than Mac Jones. He can make
let me put it this way: who isn't much better than Jones? I mean, if you take 28-30 teams, come on. I feel bad for the kid because I think, he came hyped through Alabama, and I think Belichick got taken.
A system quarterback is what he was. He was surrounded by all this wealth of talent, a cornucopia of talent, Al, when you think about it.
Well, he also came in as trying to follow a Brady, which is like trying to find, come on.
Yeah.
There's nobody who was going to step in and do that, but on top of it, he didn't step in at all.
Well, in the first season, he started, to make people excited about, okay, maybe we got something here.
In 4 years,
you're right. There's no way he could possibly come in.
In 4 years, he's been taken out of the starting lineup twice.
Yes.
So that'll tell you something.
In mid-game.
In mid-game. That'll tell you something. And replaced by a guy who nobody wants, in Zappy.
because he's the only
they're in
available
trouble.
body.
Well,
he's the
that's
only
right.
available body to take a snap.
They're in
Yeah, that's all you need to know there. But Al,
I say bring Hoyer back. I mean, he's only been here,
bring him out of retirement.
17 years?
Oh God,
Jesus.
God. No, but as I was saying, there was no possible way. There's no possible way that Mac Jones was ever going to come in here and make everyone forget about Tom Brady.
No.
No.
But what he could have done, though, was show that he had good quarterback sense.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he never had the arm. What's his name? Rex, the Reed there, the ex-coach of the Jets. What's his name?
Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan. He said he's the worst thrower he's ever seen.
Yeah.
He is. He has
doesn't-
no arm.
He doesn't put any velocity on those
Nothing.
on those passes that he needs to zip it. Whereas Zach Wilson, I'll tell you what, man, people were excited about it, and
He'll
it was
be
like
fine.
it was across the board.
He'll be
People
fine.
were ready to throw him. I mean, Joe Namath was throwing him under the bus.
We might get him. Here's the deal. I'll tell you. I mean, I watch every sport. All
But
sport.
I don't think all is lost in New York.
Well, let me tell you how bad this situation was. I watched the first half of the Patriots game, and then I went out and did my walk at the second half because I knew I wasn't missing a
Nothing.
thing.
No, you were missing it.
Very sad. And I hate to say it, and I look, I'm one of these guys that don't believe that you can't make a judgment on preseason, but I see the Bruins going from a record 135.65 wins to just making the playoffs.
Wow, that's a steep drop.
But
you know what?
A huge drop.
But you know what, though, Al? If they just make the playoffs and advance,
Look at
Let's
all you have to
I'll
do is
take
make
that.
the playoffs. I think the Bruins learned something last year, trying to go for the best record and the most wins. Then they get in the playoffs and lose in the first round. So they could have rested some of these guys, like Bergeron, who was hurt, Krejci, who was hurt.
Yeah.
But you know what? The Red Sox are out. I don't care
The
to
President's
watch.
Trophy is like an anvil around your neck, when you go into the playoffs. It seems like it's cursed,
But it's tough to watch, like when you're a Red Sox fan, to watch some of these games and say, the Phillies are playing Miami.
Yeah, there's no
Tough to
no
watch.
excitement there.
Tough to watch.
But we are still excited about our Milton High football team. Again, the Wildcats will be hosting the Needham Rockets at Brooks Field on Friday night. We want to remind everyone to get out there, be loud, be proud. A lot will be on the line. The Wildcats will be looking to go to 5-0, and then they will be hosting or traveling to Taunton and then hosting Natick on October 27th before hopefully getting into the playoffs with a top seed. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We want to thank you very much. I want to thank my main man, Al Prizzuti. We hope to see you again next time here on Stepping Up to the Plate. So long, everybody.